Right now, at this exact moment, there is a war happening inside your body. Not a metaphor, not a figure of speech. A literal war with soldiers, strategy, intelligence networks, and memory. You did not start this war, you do not command it. Most of the time, you do not even know it is happening, and yet you are winning. Every single day, your body fights off thousands of threats, bacteria, viruses, fungi, parasites, and you never feel a thing. Today, we are going to walk through exactly what happens when you get sick. Not the simplified version, the real sequence of events, from the moment a pathogen breaches your skin to the moment your body remembers it forever. By the end, you will understand something most people never think about. The most sophisticated military operation on Earth is happening inside you right now, and it has been running without interruption since the day you were born. First, the landscape. Your body is a fortress, and it is under constant siege. Every breath you take carries thousands of bacteria into your lungs. Every meal introduces microbes to your gut. Every cut, every scrape, every handshake is a potential breach. The numbers are staggering. Your body contains roughly 38 trillion bacterial cells, slightly more than the number of human cells that make up the rest of you. You are, by cell count, more microbe than human. Most of these bacteria are harmless. Some are essential. They help you digest food, produce vitamins, train your immune system. But some are not harmless. And the difference between a harmless microbe and a deadly pathogen is often just a few genes. So your body has built a defense system. In fact, it has built two. The first army is called the innate immune system. It is fast, loud, and dumb. It does not care what the pathogen is. It does not distinguish between a bacterium and a virus or a fungus. It sees something that does not belong, and it attacks, immediately, with overwhelming force. The front line of this army is the neutrophil. Your blood contains more neutrophils than any other white blood cell. Roughly 60 to 70% of all circulating immune cells are neutrophils. They are the infantry. They rush to the site of infection, engulf bacteria, and die. That is their job. They are designed to die. The second army is called the adaptive immune system. It is slow, precise, and brilliant. Where the innate system attacks everything, the adaptive system targets one specific pathogen, one strain of bacteria, one variant of a virus. It takes days to mobilize, sometimes weeks on first exposure. But when it does, it produces weapons so precise they can distinguish between two molecules that differ by a single atom. And here's the part that matters. The adaptive system remembers. It records every pathogen it has ever fought, and it keeps that file for years, sometimes for life. The next time the same invader shows up, the adaptive system responds in hours instead of days. You do not even feel sick. These two armies do not operate independently. They communicate, they coordinate, and the moment that connects them, the handoff that turns a chaotic battle into a precision operation, is the single most important event in the entire immune response. So here is the scenario. You are walking through the kitchen. You slice your finger on a knife. It is a small cut, barely bleeds. You wash it, bandage it, and forget about it. But the knife carried bacteria from the cutting board into the wound. Staphylococcus aureus, a bacterium that lives on most human skin without causing problems. Outside the skin, in the tissue, it is a different story. It begins to multiply. Within minutes, the resident macrophages, large immune cells that are already stationed in your tissue, like guards at a gate, detect the invader. They engulf the bacteria. They release alarm signals called cytokines, chemical messengers that tell the rest of the immune system, we have a problem. The cytokines cause inflammation, blood vessels dilate. Fluid rushes to the area, the tissue swells. That is why your cut is red and puffy. It is not infected. It is defended. Now the neutrophils arrive. They flood into the tissue from the bloodstream, following the cytokine trail like a scent. A single neutrophil can engulf and destroy up to 20 bacteria before it dies, and it will die. The neutrophil has no memory, no long-term plan. It is a suicide soldier. It engulfs pathogens until it cannot, and then it ruptures, releasing enzymes that kill nearby bacteria. The dead neutrophils, the dead bacteria, the fluid from the inflammation, that is pus. Pus is not a sign that something has gone wrong. It is a sign that your immune system is working. It is the residue of a battle your body is winning. Meanwhile, a second line of innate defense activates. The complement system, a cascade of over 30 proteins circulating in your blood, begins to punch holes in bacterial cell walls. The bacterium that was intact moments ago is now riddled with pores, leaking, dying. But here's the problem. The innate system is powerful but imprecise. It is fighting the pathogen it can see. It does not know what the pathogen looks like at a molecular level. It cannot design a weapon specifically for it. It cannot remember it for next time. For that, the adaptive system needs to get involved, and for that to happen, a messenger needs to carry the intelligence. The messenger is the dendritic cell. It arrives at the scene of infection, engulfs the pathogen, and does something extraordinary. It chops the bacterium into fragments, small pieces of protein called antigens, and it holds those fragments up on its surface like a photograph. Then it leaves the battlefield. It travels through the lymphatic system, a network of vessels that drains fluid from your tissues to the nearest lymph node. The lymph node is where the adaptive immune system lives. It is the intelligence headquarters. The dendritic cell arrives and begins presenting its fragments to the cells stationed there. Thousands of naive T cells, cells that have never encountered a pathogen, scan the fragments one by one, looking for a match. Most of them will not match. The dendritic cell moves on, tries the next one, and the next. But eventually, one T cell recognizes the fragment. Its receptor, a protein on its surface shaped to fit that specific antigen like a key in a lock, binds to it. That T cell is now activated, and what happens next is one of the most explosive events in biology. The activated T cell begins to divide rapidly. One cell becomes two, two become four, four become eight. Within days, that single activated T cell has produced thousands of identical copies, each one carrying the exact same receptor, each one programmed to recognize that specific pathogen. This is called clonal expansion, and it is the immune system's equivalent of a wartime industrial mobilization. The factory floor is your lymph nodes. The product is a standing army custom-built for one enemy. Some of these T cells become helper T cells, the generals. They do not kill pathogens directly. Instead, they coordinate the response, activating B cells, amplifying the attack, ensuring every part of the immune system is working in concert. Others become cytotoxic T cells, the assassins. They leave the lymph node, travel to the site of infection, and destroy any host cell that has been infected by the pathogen. They do this by injecting a protein called perforin, which punches holes in the infected cell's membrane, followed by enzymes that trigger the cell to self-destruct. But the real weapon, the one that changes the outcome of the war, is the B cell. B cells are activated by helper T cells. Once activated, they transform into plasma cells, and plasma cells are factories. A single plasma cell can produce up to 10,000 antibody molecules per second. Each antibody is a precision-guided molecular weapon, a Y-shaped protein designed to bind to one specific antigen on the surface of the pathogen. Antibodies do not kill pathogens directly. They do something more elegant. They tag them. An antibody that binds to a bacterium marks it for destruction, signaling macrophages to engulf it, activating the complement system to punch holes in it, clumping pathogens together so they can be cleared more efficiently. This is the moment the battle turns. The innate system was holding the line. The adaptive system has now arrived with custom-built weapons, and the pathogen, which was multiplying freely an hour ago, is being destroyed at an accelerating rate. Within 72 hours of the initial infection, the pathogen is cleared. The inflammation subsides. The tissue repairs. The battle is over. But the story does not end with victory, because your body has learned something. A small fraction of the activated B cells and T cells, the ones that fought this specific pathogen, do not die after the battle. They become memory cells. Memory B cells and memory T cells persist in your body for years. Some persist for decades. They circulate through your blood and lymph, waiting. The next time the same pathogen enters your body, these memory cells recognize it immediately. There is no need for a dendritic cell to travel to a lymph node, no need for the slow process of clonal expansion. The memory cells activate within hours, and the response is faster, stronger, and more precise than the first time. This is why you only get chickenpox once. This is what a vaccine does. It shows your adaptive system a harmless version of the pathogen. So it builds memory cells without the risk of the actual disease. Your immune system is not just fighting today's war, it is preparing a file for every enemy it has ever encountered, and it keeps that file ready indefinitely. Now, the part that should break your brain. Your body produces roughly 25 million new cells every second. Many of them are immune cells. Your total immune system weighs about 1.2 kilograms, roughly the weight of a bag of sugar, and contains around 1.8 trillion cells. But here is what is truly extraordinary. Through a process called VDJ recombination, your immune system randomly shuffles gene segments to create antibodies. The result is a theoretical repertoire of over 100 billion unique antibody receptors, including shapes that have never existed in nature, for threats that have not yet evolved. Your body is rolling the dice billions of times before you are even born, generating weapons for a war it cannot yet predict. And the scale of what is happening inside you right now, only about 1% of your immune cells are circulating in your blood. The other 99% are stationed in your tissues and lymph nodes, a distributed army embedded in every organ, every mucosal surface, every barrier between you and the outside world. Your gut alone houses roughly 70% of your immune cells. That is not a coincidence. The gut is where the most invaders try to enter, through food, through water, through every meal you have ever eaten. Your immune system is not a single army, it is a civilization. And yet, for something this sophisticated, most people have it completely wrong. Myth 1, you should boost your immune system. No, your immune system needs balance, not boosting. An overactive immune system attacks your own body. That is what autoimmune disease is. Rheumatoid arthritis, type 1 diabetes, lupus. These are not failures of immunity, they are too much of it. Myth 2, cold weather gives you colds. No, viruses give you colds. Cold weather just drives people indoors where transmission is easier. Your nose runs because the cold air irritates the lining, not because you caught a virus from the wind. Myth 3, you can overwhelm your immune system with vaccines. No, your immune system handles millions of antigens simultaneously. A few vaccine components are trivial, a rounding error on its workload. The truth is simpler and more remarkable than any of these myths. Your immune system is not a muscle to be strengthened or a battery to be charged. It is an orchestra, and every instrument needs to play in tune, at the right volume, at the right time. So the next time you cut your finger, or feel a sniffle coming on, or wonder why that cold lasted 3 days instead of 5, remember what is actually happening. 1 trillion cells are fighting for you. They have been fighting since before you could speak, and they will fight until your last breath. They do not need your permission. They do not need your attention. They do not even need you to know they exist. You are alive because of them. Every moment of every day. This system, older than consciousness, older than language, older than thought, is running, silently, relentlessly, perfectly. You did not ask for this army. You did not train it. But it has never once stopped fighting for you, and it never will.